My name is Terry Oliver. For my informative speech, I chose to inform the audience of the importance of good hand hygiene practices. I would like to title this as Before It's Too Late, You Should Never Wait on Washing Your Hands. Let me ask you all a question. Have you washed your hands today? Good question to ask oneself, right? Now think of the possible encounters where you probably should have washed your hands and you did not do so. How many doorknobs have you touched? Have you shaken anybody's hand? How many trips to the restroom have you been? This is just a few of numerous ways in where bacteria multiply and are easily spread to others if measures are not taken to perform hand hygiene. Now let me ask you this. Who has 20 seconds throughout the day to take time to wash their hands? Well, that's all it takes for effective hand washing. My goal is to properly educate and inform the importance of good hand hygiene practices. With that being said, we need to know how bacteria and germs can be transmitted. One of the ways is through direct contact. Direct contact is through person-to-person contact. This can be transmitted through touching, kissing, or coming in contact with oral secretions or body lesions that are potentially infectious. Indirect contact is object to person. Some examples of indirect contact would be touching doorknobs, handling money, going to the grocery store, touching the buggy handles, or even going to the fitness center and touching the equipment. These are examples of indirect contact. Another form of transmission is through fecal-oral transmission. This is through handling food after using restroom and failing to wash hands. Other ways are through droplet and airborne. This can be transmitted by being around someone who may be infectious, who is sneezing or coughing. Here's some did you know facts. Did you know that the first line of defense against germs is hand washing? Did you know that 80% of infectious diseases are transmitted by touch? Contaminated hands spread common illnesses such as pneumonia, the common cold, or flu. Did you know the most critical times for hand washing are before preparing food and after going to the restroom? Studies have shown that only 20% of people wash their hands before preparing food. Touching food with contaminated hands spreads foodborne illnesses such as salmonella, E. coli, diarrheal infections, staph, and with diarrhea infection remaining the second most common cause of childhood death. Another research showed that less than 75% of women and less than 50% of men wash their hands after using the restroom. This is totally unacceptable. So what should you know about washing your hands? Or when you should wash your hands? We should all wash our hands after using the restroom, after blowing your nose, coughing, sneezing, before eating, serving, or preparing food. We should also wash our hands when our hands are becoming visibly soiled or dirty. One of the most important is before and after being around someone who is sick. Me, working in the healthcare field, it is extremely important for us to wash our hands between patients. We are constantly encountering patients who are infectious, and if we were not to wash our hands on a regular basis, we could potentially expose our other patients to these infectious diseases. So here's the things we need to know about hand washing. There are 3 essential components of hand washing, and that is soap, water, and friction, with friction being the key. It is recommended that hand washing be 15 to 20 seconds. Research shows that for every 15 seconds spent washing hands, 10 times more bacteria can be removed. Well, one may ask, well, what if you're not in an area where you have access to water and soap? It's a good question. There are other alternative ways for hand washing, and that would be through the use of hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer is available in smaller, more travel-friendly size, I guess you could say. Small enough to fit in your pocket, your purse, or whatever it may be. So there are no excuses. Research shows that the use of hand sanitizer is 99.9% effective in killing germs. It also shows that 30 seconds of using hand sanitizer kills as much bacteria versus 2 full minutes of hand washing. Now that you have all been informed and properly educated on good hand hygiene practices, I strongly encourage taking these simple, potentially life-saving measures. Who knows, the next time you wash your hands could be very well the time you avoid becoming a susceptible host of a harmful, potentially deadly pathogen. Although it is impossible to eliminate the spread of germs and bacteria, the first step to reducing the spread of pathogens starts with good hand washing practices. Help me make a difference and spread the knowledge to others of the importance of hand washing and making the environment a safer place to live for years to come. I will end by asking this simple question. Will you take 20?